Hello and welcome to another interesting episode of the Reflection series, where we listen to stories that recharge and rejuvenate us. And today we have a very special guest, Francois Becher. Francois has been practicing Raj Yoga meditation over the last 40 years. He has been teaching meditation in many countries and especially in France. After his retirement, he settled in the Pacific between two main islands, New Caledonia and Tahiti in French Polynesia. Living in the South Pacific has been a new adventure for him with a lot of changes. It has also been a time for new reflections and different approach towards life and people. And the topic for today is the power of the culture and the hidden paradox, in which Francois shares about how fundamental culture is in the construction of our personal subtle structure and how much we learn about flexibility when we come in contact with other cultures. And in Francois's words, this is an experience which bursted the bubble and exploded into new stars charged with particles of wisdom. Sounds very interesting. So without further ado, let me welcome Francois once again, and it's over to you to share your story.
Thank you, Lata. Thank you for the presentation. As you can see, I'm wearing warm clothes because I'm not in Polynesia at the moment. I'm in Melbourne, where the weather is a little bit freezy, cold for me. Yes, I had the chance to, of course, to be a long time in Europe, but for the last, 9 years, I'm living in Polynesia. French Polynesia, for those who doesn't know, is in the Pacific. And I moved from different islands, French islands. One is New Caledonia, the other one is Tahiti, and all the islands around. And what I did, I would say, relearn, is to discover new culture. Of course, Melanesia, no, I would say New Caledonia is Melanesian culture, and in Tahiti is Polynesian culture. They are two different cultures. And I am from the French culture or the European culture. So this helps me to think and to rethink about the power of culture, the impact on the very subtle level of all of us. We are all born in a culture. We all grown up in a culture. And it's like we're breathing all the time air where we don't even notice that air is around us. And culture is in our bones, is in our DNA. So it's so deep in us, we don't even notice. And that's makes things very tricky. And if you look, it's not the first time we notice, culture doesn't mean it's not only the education, it's not only maybe the philosophy in which we are in, the religion, the art. Culture is also the way you eat, the way you walk, your behavior, your attitude, everything is under the coloration of our culture. And we don't see it, but we don't see how deep is in us, has become, I would say, a second nature. And all our habits, I would say, the way we take decisions, even the way we dress ourselves, is always connected to this subtle thing, which we call today culture. And this culture has has become our backbone. It's very deep, it's our backbone, and which is for me the interesting side. As I say, it's a paradox, because in one hand we need a culture, There's no good or bad culture. All culture are beautiful. They are so deep. They come from generation. Our ancestor has provided us this culture. And every culture for me is sacred because it's so many subtle things there. It's so many deep belief system is present in every culture. So we have to really respect culture. So first of all, we have to find out to know better our own culture in order to get closer to the culture of other people. And our culture started where? In my family, with my parents, my brother, my sisters, then with my friends in school. Then, of course, I got heavily influenced by the country in which I was living, the lifestyle, the medias. So we are a little bit all in a matrix in which we are involved, and it touched something we don't notice. We have a way of thinking which is according to our culture. And when our ideas, our way of thinking is modified or is driven by our culture, that means our belief system is also in adequation, is also connected to that. When our belief system is connected to our culture, it's also changing our vision, the vision we have to ourselves, to the world around us. When you talk about vision, I mean, we have a value system. That means we have a way to judge and to look everything around us through glasses or to a prism. You know, prism where everything changes color. Like you wear glasses, red or blue glasses, you see the world around you, red or blue. So we have to be aware that the culture is extremely powerful, and it modifies our behavior, our way of thinking, even the most deepest part of us. That's why I call it like a second nature. And what is not easy, but we have to get slowly rid of, it's our culture and the way we react, the way we live with it, becomes our reality. It's nothing wrong, it's our reality. But our reality is not the big reality. Our reality, it's not the ultimate truth. It's not the universal truth. It's just my little box. Well, I see it very much. That's what they say in Polynesia. They say we are all fish. We are swimming in a fishbowl, and the fishbowl is floating on the ocean. So it means we look the ocean, you know, or the sea, and we are in a fishbowl. So we are in water, but our fishbowl is floating in the big sea. So we have to be aware. We look the sea, we look the big space through our little fishbowl. And what does it do? First of all, as I say, we are born and we grow up in a culture, which is good because this brings our own structure. It becomes a norm. It becomes also very comfortable. That's why we talk a lot about comfort zone. It becomes also our reference. And reference means also we believe we have rights because we believe we are in the ultimate truth. And I remember when I was traveling, when I came across different cultures, especially in Asia. So I was surprised that the people don't eat with a fork and spoon. And I could see that some people eat with hands, with the finger, and some people eat with the chopsticks. So who is wrong? I think no one is wrong. We're just different. But if we are too much involved in our own structure, in our own belief system, in our own culture, we believe we have the right one. And that's a total wrong way to see. That's what I will call imperialism. And that's very dangerous because you believe you have the right code, that your DNA is the DNA. And that's so wrong. And now living in Polynesia and Melanesia, we have to, I don't say confront, but I'm challenged myself with this culture. We are so different. So I have to first to understand how they, to understand the culture, how they work, the sensibilities, their way of understanding. In their cultures, there's a lot of art, how they appreciate dance, music, and also they have their own philosophy. So I cannot step in like this without being extremely cautious and with a lot of respect. And so first of all, I think it's possible if you love the culture of the other people. And I do love very much the culture of these countries. And as we teach meditation, or as we try to uplift ourselves, to go in a more subtle and more, I can say, spiritual outlook, we have to understand that it's very easy to see how much a culture and a religion can become an ideology, or maybe what we call hegemony, means we are feeling taking over. We think, we believe that's only one way to live. It's only the way to live, like your way to behave, one way to live, it's the right one. And so we have to have the picture in front of us. I am just a fish in a fishbowl, but I'm not mastering the whole ocean. I'm not mastering, and I have to be extremely careful. And when you understand that the connection with the other people has to be done with I would say delicacy, with lots of sensibility, and first to listen them and to see how much there is a deep connection. For them, their own culture is also their backbone. It's also their second nature, but it's not matching with mine, but that's not a problem. And that the moment I have to see what's unique in the culture of other people, what's special, what is more refined and deeper than what I have, what I know. And that's the moment when the culture of other people becomes, I would say, your own teacher. So we have to learn first to observe, to see the beauty, and not trying to impose anything. That's absolutely wrong. We have nothing to impose. We have just to make sure we understand each other, we respect each other, and we are on a process of learning from each other. And it's only at that moment that spirituality can do his work. If I don't see, if I don't learn for the other person, if I don't see they have such a rich culture, it's like I try to impose my religion. But I'm not teaching religion, I'm teaching spirituality. And spirituality is universal. So we have to make sure that my behavior, the way I talk to them, the way I behave with them, I have to make sure that it's really a spiritual outlook, it's a spiritual behavior, and that they feel not only that I'm neutral, but I try to convey, to exchange some laws or some knowledge which is universal, which suits everybody without disturbing the culture of other people. So we have to remember culture is sacred. don't touch the culture of other people, but we can improve it, enrich it, if we bring spirituality in it. And I have to do the same with myself. So at that moment, our exchange, at that moment, the way we try to learn from each other is not based anymore on our culture. It's based on a spiritual knowledge. It's based on spiritual philosophy, or call it as you like, or on spiritual laws. And both of us, myself and the other person, we feel exactly that we are on the same wavelength, and we are saving our culture, but we enrich our culture with something which both of us has forgotten, means spirituality. And that's what I enjoy so much. I enjoy so much that connecting with people of other culture, it's basically teaching myself. It's just a moment you have to look at the other person, see this other person as a spiritual being with his own culture, means his own understanding of life, with his past. And here, of course, a big influence of the ancestors. And all these are elements which are necessary for me to move also in another dimension, in a more spiritual dimension. So it's a wonderful game, but can only be beautiful if there's respect, love, and contribution with in our own exchange. Is that clear? Can you get it a little bit? Or?
Yes, that's been wonderful. And it's wonderful to know how you've been in different cultures, and observing the differences kind of gives an insight. If I could ask, Francois, do you recall any moment when you kind of landed in these new islands and saw something really different that maybe you had not seen before or heard before, like a new culture? And looking at this difference, like, what was your first thought or reaction? And did it change over time? And what did you do to kind of feel at ease, if that was not the case when you saw it? So would you like to share something?
Yeah, the culture of Polynesia and Melanesia before colonization, before Captain Cook, La Perouse, the big sailor came only 200 years ago. These people had no any connection with the Western world. They had no connection with no one. You know, Polynesia is 70,000 kilometers from Europe. And when the white people came, it was beautiful the way they were so generous, so friendly. And the first people they were so surprised of the beauty and the love and the generosity of the people. But later on, the priest came, Catholic priest and Protestant priest. And they have imposed their religion and destroy their culture. And what happened? These people have lost what is more than the DNA. These people need to dance, to sing. It looks for us, of course, we also dance, we also like songs and music. But for these people, this culture, if you ask them to stop singing and dancing, you kill them. And that's what has happened. The population of this island used to be more than 100,000. And in 60 years, there were only 5,000 left. They just died off because they were not allowed anymore to dance with their own dance, to sing. The priest asked them to sing Christian songs. They asked them to stop tattoos. You know, they had all tattoos. Means they lost their identity because tattoos was something very secret. Any tattoos had a deep meaning. The tattoos was like you go in school, you receive, you pass exams, you know, and you get your exam. That the tattoos is as deep. It's different with everyone. If you are a great man, you get more tattoos or different way. So what I found out, or they explained me, but I could see it. When you stop people, when you are not allowed anymore to express themselves through their culture, and there was dance and music, and today they came back to their culture. And it's so beautiful the way they sing, they dance. If they don't do it, they are lost. And even they died. So can you imagine? My culture was not much based on dance and music. I had, of course, and not of tattoos. I don't have any tattoos. So I had to discover how deep music, dance, tattoos is for these people. So it's not a joke. It's their passport, it's their identity. It's the connection with the ancestor. The tattoos are also connected to the clan, the family. I mean, they have no books, but the books is on their skin. The past is on their skin. They carry their past. So how can you take it away? How can you take away I can say the past and the history of these people? In Europe, we learn the history of our country as a backbone in our culture. Their history is not written. They have no books. So their history, they carry their history on their skin. And the way they dance and so on, it's so secret. It's a part of their religion. It's a part of their belief. So I understood that how deep, how essential all this is. And of course, I had to respect it and to see, do I have myself some marks in my culture which I cannot lose, otherwise they destroy me, you know? Mm-hmm. So for me, the whole time I'm still spending there, is to understand that culture is not only what we think, music, art, dance, you know, or the way we dress, or the way we walk, or the way, no. The culture for these people, it's totally different, totally different.
And would you say practice of meditation and spirituality has helped you in accepting all different kinds of backgrounds and cultures?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Meditation helps me to go deeper, to understand. I don't think you really need meditation. You just have to be observer. You just have to be curious. And if you respect the person, if you are curious, if you like the people, you love the people, you learn automatically. But meditation with the spiritual view, you know, as I say, culture change your vision. Culture change not only your vision, your belief system. And on the spiritual path, you learn to move away a little bit with detachment. And you learn to see the other person beyond their own culture. What is behind also? They have a culture, but there is a human being behind. There is a spiritual being behind. And you have to get connected to that spiritual being. Though you have to play with different things. So meditation helps more in observation, maybe in patience. You have more patience, more respect, because you know it's not a foreign person. It's just someone like me, exactly like me, with a different background, a totally different history, but still It's a human being, it's a spiritual being, which I have to understand and to respect. You see? And of course, comes back to me, because I have to do the same with myself. That's what I said at the beginning. If you don't know your own culture, you don't know your spiritual DNA, you start imposing your behavior or your way of thinking on other people. And that's not what we have to do. We have to understand each other and to improve each other, or to enlighten. Enlightenment means on both sides, you see. So that's the reason I like it so much. And more the people are different, more it's interesting.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you, Francois. Thank you for sharing that wisdom and the learning that you have gathered. And as you mentioned, you've been practicing meditation for so long. I think it would be wonderful if you can lead our viewers into a meditation practice by speaking a commentary, if that's okay.
Okay.
So if we can have a few moments of meditation commentary from you, that would be really wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. I think on the topic we should meditate on it, talking about culture. And for this, we have to become free. As they say, sometimes you have to become a free electron. So we have to let go and to move away a little bit from our comfort zone. Just take a step away. Move in altitude. Look yourself. With other cultures, maybe not that easy, but just to be free. To move away from influences. We have to go away from our traditional way of thinking, the way we judge, the way we look at people, maybe the way I look at myself. We have to go away from all colorations. Everything gives me a dimension, a cultural dimension that has become my identity, my physical identity. And culture is not physical, it's subtle, but it's really deep. So we are deeply influenced by our culture, as much as we are influenced by what we see in the mirror. And during meditation, I move away from that. As I move away from my physical pictures, I move away also from my whole education system. What is subtle ego I use in my identity? That's what we call, we have to become naked, just to become a point. A point of energy. A light, a spiritual light. No dimension. And I found stability, found peace. Without all these different supports. I'm light. I am a point. A spiritual being. And I can see the people around me with the same vision. Every human being is a spiritual being. We look for peace. Become stable.
Thank you so much, Professor, for that beautiful commentary and giving us that experience. And thank you once again for sharing your story with us today.
Beautiful, I love it. And my adventure keeps going. It's not finished.
Yes, yes. And I would also like to thank the viewers for joining us today. And if you would like to know more about us, please do visit our website, www.brahmakumaris.org.au. All the address of our local centers are listed on there, and there are details of the various programs and events that keep happening as well. So thank you once again, and we will see you again with another interesting story on this reflection series. So take care. Om Shanti.